Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Wynna Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Former Apple Daily executives to plead guilty to national security charges. 11th fugitive who made illegal border crossing returns to Hong Kong. And the government hopes to turn the lives of 2,000 underprivileged teenagers around. 6 former Apple Daily executives are intending to plead guilty to national security law charges. But the defunct newspaper's founder, Jimmy Lai, will try to fight the charges, although no trial date has been set yet. Janice Lowe reports.
Media tycoon Jimmy Lai and other executives of the now defunct Apple Daily appeared in High Court today for a case management hearing. Lai, Next Digital Chief Executive Chang Kim-hong, Chief Editor Ryan Law, Associate Publisher Chan Pui-man, Executive Chief Editor Lam Man-chong, and editorial writers Yang Chen-ki and Feng Wei-kong, as well as 3 affiliated companies, are charged with conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and to publish seditious publications. All of Lai's former employees intended to plead guilty, while Lai and the companies would not. The Security Bureau has also approved the 3 companies to use their frozen assets to settle legal fees. No date has been set for the trial, which is expected to last 1 month. 3 designated national security law judges, Esther To, Susana de Almada Remedios, and Alex Lee, expressed hope to begin proceedings as soon as possible. Janice Lowe, HKIBC.
Former Democratic Party Chairman Albert Ho has been granted bail over a national security law charge. Ho, who recently completed an 18-month sentence for various illegal gatherings in 2019, walked out of the High Court this afternoon, but did not talk to the media. Ho and 2 other members of the now disbanded Hong Kong Alliance were accused of inciting others to subvert the state of power between July 2020 and September last year. An earlier bail request was rejected at a lower court, but designated National Security Judge Johnny Chan granted the 70-year-old bail today. Apart from posting $700,000 in cash, Ho must also surrender his travel documents, observe a curfew, and report to police 3 times a week. A woman who was among 12 Hong Kong fugitives arrested in mainland waters has returned this morning after completing her jail term in Guangzhou, but she could face more charges. Joanna Ho reports.
Queen Moon may have walked free from a Guangzhou prison, but she was far from regaining her freedom. As soon as she was deported from the mainland this morning, Hong Kong police officers picked her up at the Shenzhen Bay port. She was then taken inside Tin Shui Wai police station. Moon, now in her 30s, was among 12 Hong Kongers caught by Coast Guards in mainland waters in 2020 as they attempted to flee to Taiwan by boat. She was sentenced to 2 years in jail for organizing the illegal border crossing. Police National Security Department is expected to investigate the smuggling plan. The woman is wanted by SAR authorities over an alleged bomb-making case 2 years ago. Including Moon, 11 of the 12 fugitives have now returned to Hong Kong. 8 of them were repatriated in March last year after serving time in a mainland prison. 2 others, Liu Ziman and Huang Lam Fuk, were released in December 2020 because they were minors. Another organizer of the escape, Tang Kai-yin, is still serving a 3-year prison term in Guangzhou. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Daily COVID infections have surpassed 6,000 for 5 days in a row, and there are signs it will continue to rise. That prompted authorities to reopen a treatment facility near the airport. Isaac Lee reports.
3 months since it was shut down, Asia World Expo will reopen tonight as a treatment facility for COVID patients. Most of the 200 beds will be allocated to elderly patients or those who require extra medical care. This came after COVID infections exceeded 6,000 for the 5th consecutive day. Of 6,617 new cases, 6,380 were locally acquired. 5 more people succumbed to COVID, although they were all aged 60 or above and suffered chronic illnesses. Another 13 care homes reported an outbreak of the virus, affecting 21 residents and 2 staff members.
Usually, it will be due to confirmed staff members spreading virus to elderly residents. We encourage them to do regular PCR tests. The beauty of PCR tests is much more sensitive than RAT. A positive is real positive, but negative RAT may not be absolute.
Authorities also reminded citizens to comply with quarantine orders, as they are investigating more than 600 cases of alleged violations. These included around 140 patients who left their residences while wearing location tracing wristbands. The Department of Health will consider instigating prosecution for offenders. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
A man who allegedly trafficked Hong Kong people to Southeast Asia through job scams will remain in custody until October. A 6th member of the crime ring has been arrested, while the number of victims who came forward rose to 37. Janice Lowe reports.
Police have arrested a 29-year-old man connected to a fraud syndicate which saw Hong Kongers lured to Southeast Asia to engage in boiler room scams. He is the 6th person arrested in connection with the case. One of them appeared in Eastern Magistracy this morning. The court was told that Ma Chi-ho, who is 30 years old, had conspired to defraud at least 2 victims. One victim was lured to Thailand before ending up in Myanmar, where he was held captive. The other was conned out of more than $35,000. Ma did not have to enter a plea today. His bail request was denied, and he will remain in custody until the next hearing on October 17. During a radio interview, Undersecretary for Security, Michael Check, revealed another alleged victim has sought assistance from Hong Kong authorities. At least 37 SAR citizens have now fallen prey to the fraud syndicate, with 23 still held in Myanmar and Cambodia. Chuck also urged family members who were asked to pay a ransom to first contact law enforcement agencies. Janice Lowe, HKIBC.
The government is launching a mentorship program meant to address cross-generational poverty. 2,000 teenagers from subdivided flats will receive guidance on financial and life planning, as well as a subsidy of $10,000 each. Joanna Ho reports.
In the first phase of the mentorship program, up to 2,000 secondary 1 to 3 students living in subdivided flats will benefit. During the year-long pilot scheme, each student will be assigned a mentor. Apart from advice on financial and life planning, the youngsters will follow their mentors to work. Each student will also receive an allowance of $10,000. The mentors will teach them on how to use the first $5,000, while the remainder will be paid upon the completion of the program. All mentors must be above 21 years old, with younger candidates given priority. Chief Secretary Eric Chan, who is in charge of the Anti-Poverty Task Force, hopes to fund the scheme through donations.
We will receive donations from some big companies and commercial sectors. And we trust that after 1 year, these students will surely know better themselves. And then they will also they will be able to set up their own life goals, and then they know how to achieve their goals.
the program could kick off in October. The Society for Community Organization welcomed the plan, but felt the quota was insufficient. It also called on the government to raise the subsidy for the participants. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
The observatory said it may issue the Typhoon Signal number 1 tomorrow as a tropical storm edges towards Hong Kong.
According to the present forecast track, Ma-on will come within 800 kilometers of Hong Kong on Tuesday late evening. Depending on its actual development and movement, the observatory will consider issuing the standby signal number 1 on Tuesday late evening. Ma-on is expected to enter the northeastern part of the South China Sea tomorrow night, edging closer to the coast of Guangdong and intensifying gradually on Wednesday and Thursday.
Overseas ousted Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has been booked under the country's anti-terror laws. The charge states that Khan threatened action against top police officials and a female judge, trying to harm the peace of the nation. In one of his rallies, the former prime minister blamed the police and judiciary for the arrest and torture of his party deputy, Shahbaz Gill. Khan accused the government of being vindictive because he stood up against corrupt officials. The High Court in capital Islamabad has granted Khan protective bail till Thursday. Daria Dugina, the daughter of Russian ultranationalist Alexander Dugin, has been killed in a suspected car bombing in Moscow. Investigators confirmed that Dugina was at the wheel when an explosive device planted under the car was set off. It's believed her father was the intended target of the attack. He was supposed to be traveling in the same car, but made a last-minute decision to ride separately. Dugin is a close ally of Vladimir Putin and is credited for shaping the Russian president's worldview. Ukraine has denied any involvement with the incident. Local inflation has slightly edged up last month. According to official data, the Consumer Price Index rose by 1.9% year-on-year in July. That was slightly higher than the 1.8% increase in June. Gas and water tariffs recorded the biggest spike, rising by over 15%. Prices for clothing, as well as basic food, also saw notable upticks of between 5 and 6.5%. Home rents, on the other hand, fell by 0.4%. Officials expect external price pressures to remain notable due to surging inflation overseas, but domestic pressures will be mild. Haiyan Development has registered an 86% drop in interim profits. The primary landlord in Causeway Bay only netted $71 million of profits in the 6 months ending June. That's a sharp contrast compared to earnings of $517 million over the same period last year. Turnover also fell 3.1%. On a positive note, sales for its retail tenants rose by 25% in the second quarter, but office leasing revenue fell by 8%. Chairwoman Irene Lee called on authorities to further relax border restrictions as they negatively affected consumer and business sentiment. A look at the markets now. The Hang Seng Index closed down 116 points. Top 10 active stocks: Tencent down $4.40, Meituan up $1.20. BYD Company down $1.40, Tracker Fund down 4 cents. In foreign exchange rates, the euro is at 7.84, British pound 9.27, Canadian dollar 6.04. In foreign markets, the UK FTSE is down 23 points. Finally, the weather. Fine and very hot tomorrow, but expect heavy pollution. Temperatures will range between 28 and 34 degrees. Conditions will worsen from Wednesday as a tropical storm approaches. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Wynna Wong. Thanks for watching. Good night.